Hi guys, thanks so much for clicking into today's video. I just wanted to do a nice roundup of fragrances that I have been enjoying throughout the Christmas period, around the Christmas period, and what I'll be probably wearing for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I don't get much chance to film these days, so I just wanted to thank everyone that sort of stuck around as my subscriber and those who still enjoy my videos. I hope you've all had a really wonderful Christmas. Even if you've been working throughout or are on their own for Christmas, I hope you've been able to take some time just for yourself. If like me, you've been working pretty much throughout Christmas, you've possibly found some real festive moments within your fragrances. Luxury fragrances, they're the ones I've been choosing, and they're the ones I feel like I've earned because I've worked so much this Christmas. We do have a few new ones as well that I'm going to talk about. So let's start with this very Christmassy, traditionally Christmassy looking box here, and this is a new one from Chopard. I don't have any others from Chopard. The only one I've ever been familiar with from this house is one called Wish, which goes back from I think the 90s, which my mum used to love. This one is called Roses to Caroline, and it's part of their it's from their exclusive collection. The only reason I purchased this, and this was a blind purchase, a very risky blind purchase, because this was not cheap. This is all down to me being seduced by an image on Instagram. Instagram is a very dangerous place to be when you have a credit card. So what seduced me about Rose de Caroline was this bottle. This beautiful bottle was enough to make me go hunting around and to find out more. Made by Alberto Morillas, and he made this for his friend called Caroline. This fragrance is all about Bulgarian Rose Absolute, which is incredibly valuable. It reflects that in the price. Now, if you buy this brand new from Harrods, this will cost you £495. But luckily, Natino, which I do go to quite regularly, which is sort of like a grey market shop, was selling this bottle. I think it was because it had a damaged box, was £155. In a moment of just dumb intrigue and a little bit of craziness, probably tiredness on my part as well, I pulled the trigger and I went for it. So this is the bottle on Notino that was £155, and it had a damaged box, although I've got to say the box looks pretty fine to me. Now, obviously the bottle is absolutely stunning. There's no question that you can't deny how beautiful this bottle is. It's incredibly heavy, as you would expect. It's given me very strong Game of Thrones vibes, of course. It's both beautiful and dangerous and regal and bold. So this really is all about the rose. There is nothing else in this fragrance, to my nose, other than this Bulgarian rose. It's very deep, it's very dark, it's got that gothic, dark, dusty touch to it. It has a velvety nature, very pure, dark rose petal scent. Every time I spray Rose de Caroline, I always see the same thing. I see a lonely, single-stemmed, maroon, deep red rose. There's no water left in the vase. It's not yet dead. Zero sweetness. It's not quite dried out. It hasn't quite reached that dusty old, that bitter sort of rosy scent, that potpourri direction. It hasn't got to that stage. There's still some plump red life in the petals. It's definitely a grown-up rose. It's sultry, it's elegant. When I first smelt this, it did remind me of something I've smelt a long time ago. I don't even know when. There's something familiar. I'm not going to say it's vintage. It doesn't smell vintage. It just smells familiar but timeless. It's a very timeless scent. I mean, it's a pure rose, Bulgarian Rose Absolute, but it is simple. It doesn't change, doesn't try to be anything more than that. There is a natural depth in this rose fragrance without it being heavy. The performance is moderate, I would say. It just sits like a warm glow. And obviously that beautiful bottle speaks for itself. So that is Rose de Caroline by Chopard. So a fragrance that has been an absolute massive success for this month of December and since I bought it. One from By Terry, and this is Delectation Splendide, and this is a beautiful soft tobacco fragrance. It's plummy, there's a little bit of spice in there. It's so soft, it's so delicious, and it is stunning. I just can't. It's easy to wear, this one. It's so soft, it's unoffensive. I don't see how anyone could dislike this one. There's so much going on without it being complicated. When you first spray this one, I always find that that's the stage where you think, not quite sure what's going on here. It's not much happening, can't smell a lot. At the same time, you can sort of smell too many different things that don't quite mingle, but suddenly They all come together. If you like fragrances like Herod from Parfum de Marly, this is in that kind of genre. I wouldn't say it was boozy. I think, is that one boozy? It's so softly blended and you get that slight fruity nuance from the plum, the soft tonka bean, that plum. There's just such a lovely amount of plum in here. It's so seamless. And then you've got the spice, which I think was cinnamon, and there's enough spice that it lifts it. It wouldn't, I don't think you would call it spicy. Or maybe you would. Depends how it sits on your skin, doesn't it? I notice the spice, but it's not spicy. And that makes it lovely for this time of year. It makes it that lovely, warm, festive, kind of spicy tobacco. Beautiful for, well, any occasion. Like I say, so soft. You could wear this for anything. But this is stunning. Easy grab and go, easy reach, very enjoyable. So happy I've got this one. And look how beautiful that is as well. And God, the weight of this bottle. So that is Delectation Splendide by Terry. So next, let's talk about Jo Malone's Scarlet Poppy. So this is one that I just keep spraying. It's so easy, it's so comforting and soft, and just it's beautifully relaxing. If you can see the level, it's just, oh man. Hang on, can you see the level? I've used half the bottle. I've sprayed it like it's going out of fashion. Barley, I believe there's almond. No, I've gone blank on all of it. There is this poppy note. I don't know if that's like a phantom thing. It smells like the colour of beige, the colour of wheat, the colour of porridge. It's angelic, it's soft, it's simple, but it's just so comforting. It's so Moorish somehow. Baking goods texture. This is the scent of a cake before it's been baked, but it's not got the sweetness. It's just got that pure, dry ingredients kind of scent, and it's just so addictive. And I can't stop wearing it, and I've been enjoying it all this month. So this is the Scarlet Poppy by Jo Malone. So next, let's talk about Roses Berberanza by Maison Lancome. This might possibly be my favourite rose for the occasion I'd wear it for, and for how delicious and exciting this is. We can start off the Christmas period of me wearing this, because I wore this when I went Christmas shopping, and since going Christmas shopping, this is the scent that I've been craving so much. It's a bit too decadent. Well, no, it is too decadent to wear as a daily scent. It's too rich, it's too boozy, it's so beautiful, it's so luxurious, tooth-achingly sugary sweet. It gets compared to, what are those Greek sweets called? Baklava, is that right? Baklava. Those, they drip in honey and dripping in oils and very nutty. And that's kind of what this is like. But it's more like rose jam on a baklava. That's how rich it is. You've got the pistachio in here, which brings this sour, nutty facet, which I always think it makes it seem like it's like fruits going into fermentation. It's almost like you've got this bowl of punch where you've got heavy rose syrup, you've got fruits, there's honey dripping on everything, and you've got this quality that makes you think the fruits are going over, they're going into their overly sugary stage, but it's the pistachio that's doing that, giving it this funk. You're left with the most decadent, honeyed, sort of Eastern enveloping, Turkish delight, boozy, I think there's rum in here, boozy scent, and oh my God, the trail is intoxicating. I've had so many compliments. In fact, this is my most complimented fragrance, and I've continued to wear it on so many occasions throughout Christmas because it is just too good to not wear. I also wore it for Boxing Day at my mum's, and she said, "Who smells like marzipan?" I said, "Well, I'm wearing Roses Berberanza," and when she smelt it on me closer, she said, "No, it's definitely you. It's that lovely, rich, rosy, sweet." But she said it smelled like marzipan. So it just comes off as rich, 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 rich. My favourite rose fragrance is Roses Berberanza. Another fragrance I completely fell in love with this season. It's from the house of Xerjoff, from the Casamarati line. So it's the line where the bottles look like a little sliced loaf of bread. And this one is called Bouquet Ideale. Now this bottle is pretty much the embodiment of something that looks festive. I mean, just look at that. It's just so fun. It's so happy and party-like. It's beautiful. I wouldn't say it was a party scent, but it still has this richness to it. I always say this smells like strawberry jam smeared over wood, but not quite as harsh as that. I mean, if that was blended seamlessly, this is how it would smell. There's no fruits in this. There's nothing alluding to a sweet fruit. This is classed as a vanillic, woody, spicy scent. Undeniably, a smooth, creamy wood, even with a slightly metallic edge to it. The woods are very present, but there's this sweetness that's like sugar sweetness, you know, it's that proper sugary, jammy sweetness. Beautiful combination of, yeah, wood, spice and sweetness that make this so alluring. This to me is the perfect cozy but luxurious winter or Christmas scent, and it's become one of my favorite purchases of the year. So that is Bouquet Ideale by Xerjoff. So this next fragrance, I don't think like it belongs in this category of fragrances, in all these festive, rich, party fragrances. But this one has made it into this video because I am enjoying it so much. This is from the house of Christian Dior, Prive, one of my favourite lines. And this is Gris Dior. And this gets a lot of love on YouTube because it is so beautiful. It's so elegant. It's so chic. And it's a stunning rose patchouli, but done in a very sort of classic, it's like a modern chypre. So you've got the classic chypre, which is oak moss, patchouli, rose. So you've got the moss, you've got the patchouli, and you've got this beautiful rose. But it's a very modern take because it doesn't have that awful sharp what do you want to call it, like maybe a vinegary quality that a lot of these vintage chypres have. Very clean quality amongst those notes, but there was still always this twang between the oak moss and the patchouli. There was always this sharp woody twang that used to get to me. I used to always be disappointed that I couldn't wear it because of that, because of this headache thing. And I could always appreciate how beautiful the rose in the background was. And in a moment of, I guess, contrariness, fickleness, reached for it again. And I just thought there's something so satisfying about this fragrance in winter. In winter, this is when this is absolutely beautiful for me, because sometimes, even when it's cold outside or it's wet, it's miserable, you don't always want to wear a heavy gourmand. You don't want to feel cozy from fragrance. Sometimes you want to embrace it, and you know, that kind of cold, sharp snap, it can just suit the mood. That's just sometimes what you want. And this is what this is for me. It's a cold rose patchouli. This is to me a bit austere. It's a chic, elegant fragrance. It's like an austerity about it. There's composure. It's that kind of mood. Really has suited so many days. I've enjoyed it so much. And this is a 125ml bottle, and I've really, you know, that's a lot gone from a big bottle, considering how many fragrances I've got. And I've just been enjoying it so much. I'm so happy that I've finally found a place in my collection for this. I knew it was beautiful, but I just couldn't quite suit it to me, if you know what I mean. And I'm glad that I have now, because it's really I've enjoyed it so much. So that is the very beautiful Gris Dior by Christian Dior. So let's talk about another of my most favorite fragrances that I own. It is Bleu Lazuli, and this is another soft, powdery, tobacco-centric fragrance. This has more of a fizz to it. I've always said it's something effervescent about it. Always been very wintry scent for me. I've always associated this with the winter, and I think it's because something about it reminds me of cold, powdery snow. Something sort of sparkling about it. Definitely spicy. There's a lot of cardamom in here. I used to say that I would swear blind that there was violet in here, because there's something about this that has that sort of purple hued, chalky, powdery quality, and cold. It smells cold. It definitely has a luxurious feel. It's like cold, glistening snow, but with a warmth from spice. Definitely a warmth from cardamom. So that is Bleu Lazuli by Armani Prive. So Christmas Eve, myself and my family all congregated at my mum's because we had a Christmas Eve party, which is traditionally what my parents have always done. It's a fragrance I wouldn't normally just wear to my mum's house. It is the scent for me that signifies a night out in the cold weather, really luxurious. But there's not many opportunities for that. In fact, there's no opportunities this year for that. So I decided that I would just pin it to Christmas Eve at my mum's, and I still really enjoyed it. It wasn't too heavy. So we're talking about Maison Francis Kurkdjian Oud Satin Mood. This is a very evening appropriate scent. Most people would have heard of this by now. For me, this is all about this unusual twist of an oud, a rose oud, because of the note of violet. And it's a very sweetened, very sweetened rose oud. What the violet does is bring this beautiful powdery, whimsical, powdery velvet texture. It's very velvety. The rose is very sweetened with that with that vanilla. It's a lovely combination of rose and vanilla. And the Oud just brings this medicinal facet. I find it quite dominant on me, and I find it very medicinal. So much so that I tend to wear this on my clothes, not my skin, because for some reason on my skin it comes off much more acidic and sharp. On clothes it sits softer, and I think that softer violet comes out more on my clothes. And it's a very bold scent. It's a dark, mysterious, gothic scent, but so enticing with that sweet rose as well, and it's just so beautiful. So that is Oud Satin Mood by MFK Oud Satin Mood. So Christmas Day, I actually wore Bleu Lazuli during the day, but in the evening, I actually decided to go for Baccarat Rouge 540. And this is the scent that I actually wore last Christmas. It's just so Christmassy. When I smell this one, I just think of Christmas instantly. It is spicy and sweet and salty. It's that perfect combination of sweet, salty, spicy. It has a spiciness that is nose tingly and perfectly in balance with the sweetness. You know how when you eat sweet and salty popcorn, you've got both the sweet and the salty, and it's like that in this scent. I think you've got the ambergris with it's providing that saltiness. You've got this kind of warmth and very subtle smokiness from saffron, sort of delicious nature, which makes me think of a Christmas market. There's so many elements in here make me think of this brightly coloured Christmas market. A caramelised nut vendor, if that makes sense. And you buy the nuts from these guys that are selling hot nuts ready to eat. You've got all these Christmas smells, maybe candy canes, that sugary sweet snap. It's twinkling and sparkling and salty sweet, woody, spicy. I don't know how else to describe this one, but it is so perfect around the Christmas time. That is the Baccarat Rouge 540 Extrait de Parfum by MFK Oud Satin Mood. So my next fragrance here is one that I've barely reached for, because as much as I do love the scent profile, it's so strong and it's so particular and sickly that you've just got to be in the right mood for it. And I haven't really been in the mood much this year for this one. So this is Love by Kilian. Now this again, another very hyped up fragrance, but one you have to be in the mood for. It's sickly, sticky and sweet. It's a very Moorish scent, but it gives you a feeling, if you've eaten tons of marshmallows that have just been, heating by the fire, slightly melted, but you've eaten too many of them, and let's say they're flavoured with orange blossom. You can imagine how suddenly you'd feel after all of that. That's this scent. It's very concentrated, it's very opaque. My God, is it delicious. It is narcotic, and it is part of their narcotics range, but it is so addictive. If you wear this in the wrong mood, you will probably hate it and feel ill. It might even come off slightly medicinal. An occasion only a few days ago where I was in a very strange mood, something melancholic about how I felt. I needed something to pull me out of it. Suddenly craving Love Don't Be Shy. It was perfect. It made the day. Like it brought me out of whatever brain fog I was in, and I guess sweetened my mood up, my sweet, plump, happy scent during the winter. So that is Love Don't Be Shy by Kilian. So next up, I've got one hiding at the back in its box, which I'm going to talk about next. It was a very special Christmas present for my husband. I had a sample of this one for the longest time, and I always loved it, but I was probably never going to buy a bottle because it's quite expensive. Coming back to it, I just thought, this is just too beautiful not to have. Why don't you have this in your collection? We luckily found a seller on eBay that was selling a brand new steel bottle. This is a fragrance by the house of Atelier des Or. This is my first ever from this house. This is Iris Fauve. Now, I've got to say that Iris is not my favourite note, but there's just something about this that is just spellbinding. It really is. This is the house that sells the most beautiful bottles, where you have those beautiful gold flakes floating around. And even without those gold flakes, this bottle is so stunning. There's this weight and this tactileness to it, and it's just beautiful. Every time you get it out, you have to shake it. You just can't not shake it. So yes, this is obviously an iris scent, but it's not your typical powdery iris. It's not rooty, it's not potatoey, it's not carroty, it's not chalky. It's resinous, it's golden, it's warm. It has this beautiful labdanum and myrrh, and I can't remember any other notes. Something about this reminds me of Christmas cake, dense fruits in a boozy, dense cake, but uncooked. So this is about the kitchens before they've cooked this Christmas cake, and you've got the batter and you've got the spices and you've got something about this is fruity. I don't think there were fruits in this. I think it could be the sweetness coming from that labdanum, which can come off quite ambery. But there's something about this that reminds me of uncooked Christmas cake. There's a slightly doughy nature to this, but there's a lot of facets, and it is so luxurious. It's so elegant and refined, and it reminds me of two other scents. It reminds me of Baccarat Rouge from Papillon Artisan Perfumes. That the honey was a little bit too strong in that scent for me, and there was much more of a concentrated nature. There was a thick nature to it, and I found it slightly too much. Also reminds me of Under My Skin by Francesca Bianchi, and that one I've actually got, but that one was more like a gingerbread dough. But that one is very thick again, it's scented, which is a smell kind of damp, like damp dough, spicy, slightly different. This one is much more versatile, but it sits in that same category. So beautiful for Christmas. I mean, you've got your gold, you've got your myrrh in here. We just need that frankincense and we're good to go. It's just so festive and beautiful. And when you spray this, you do get that, you get a slight hint of the gold flakes on your skin. And I've been wearing it so much and enjoying it so much and clearly obsessed. So that is the beautiful Iris Fauve by Atelier des Ors. I'm just going to shake this up one more time. So let's end today's video with the fragrance I'm going to be wearing for New Year's Eve and probably New Year's Day as well. This is by the house of Byron, and it is of course Mula Mula. Now this one is a very sweet fragrance. This one is caramel. I believe there is strawberry in here. There is definitely a boozy nature. What I always say this smells like to me is if you've been eating jelly beans, loads of juicy, fruity jelly beans, and you've washed it down with like a beer or something bubbly and fizzy but heavy. It's so sweet and thick. It's so sweet. Oh my goodness, it's jammy sweet, but the jamminess I still think of as like jelly beans. It's a rainbow. It smells like a whole handful of colourful jelly beans, but because of this boozy, creamy nature, it's like you're drinking a beer, a sweet Belgian, maybe raspberry beer or something like that. It's fizzy, it's vibrant, it's so happy, this scent. It's so sweet and happy and party-like. It's the scent to wear for New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, whatever you're doing. I'll be preparing food for my entire family that are coming on New Year's Day. I'll still be having some drinks New Year's Eve, watching a good film. It's such a great scent. There's a little bit of spice in here, a lot of caramel that binds everything together, and it is as opaque and as dense and heavy as it sounds. It is fun and vibrant, and I can't wait to wear this. So beautiful choice for New Year's Eve, any kind of party environment. That is Mula Mula, and that is by the house of Byron. And there you have it. There are all the fragrances I've been enjoying through the month of December, through Christmas, up until New Year's. That is Angus, wondering what on earth is going on. All these beautiful, beautiful bottles that are a feast for the eyes and the nose. So those are all the fragrances. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Let me know what you're going to be wearing for New Year's Eve, or if you're doing anything, what's your party fragrance? Let me know. I hope you've enjoyed the video. That is all, guys. Take care. Have a happy new year. Over and out.